Hi, I'm Richard from Electric Classic Cars, and in this week's episode it's time to cover the iconic Jensen Interceptor Mark III, the quintessential British muscle car. Let's get into it. Now, the Jensen Interceptor had a 10-year run made at the Jensen factory in
West Bromwich.
West Bromwich. I was going to say Wolverhampton then. I know it's the West Midlands. So they did 10-year run, 1966 to 1976. Just over 6,000 of them were made. However, I know there's aficionados of this brand, if you like, that's going to be shouting at the screen now saying, oh yeah, but it was, you know, made in the 80s and the 90s. They had some short-lived rebirths, if you like, outside of 1976. But 1976 proper was when it kind of really ended, and this was the last iteration of that proper run, if you like. It's the Mark III. The Mark I and the Mark II, slight design iterations around the front here, headlight areas essentially, but this was the last iteration of it, the Mark III, which had the big 7.2 litre Chrysler lump in here. And it's because we've removed that big, huge 7.2 litre lump that this car has caused quite a bit of controversy, probably second only to the Ferrari Testarossas, because we've removed that 7.2 litre V8 and we put in a Tesla motor and some batteries. So in the front here, we've got the large proportion of the battery pack. It's a 62 kilowatt hour battery pack overall. Most of it is in the front to kind of simulate, if you like, as much as we can, the huge weight of that engine and gearbox that came out. And if you want to know how much weight came out, click on the link above because we covered that in the previous episode. So in here, we've got the majority of the battery pack, 2 header tanks, 2 radiators, one obviously for the motor and inverter, one for the battery pack itself. We've got power steering over here, air conditioning, so it's got all the bits and pieces that actually came on the original engine, but now they're electrically powered because they can't be belt driven anymore because there's no engine to run them off. So that's it. In here is essentially most of the battery pack, and then the remainder of the battery pack is in the boot, which I'll show you next, and a Tesla motor underneath. Now, when you mention Jensen Interceptor to anybody, there's usually 2 things that straight away people go, oh, V8, massive engine, and iconic curved screen at the back, which you do not want to break. So around the back here in the boot is where we've got the remainder of the battery pack. So in the boot it's taking up quite a bit of space, but that's essentially where we've got to put it. Don't forget, in the UK everything has to be bolt in, so all this is just bolted into the existing infrastructure of the vehicle. And then underneath where the old axle used to be is where the Tesla motor is. So it's got a big American power lump in there now, just not Chrysler, it's Tesla. And instead of being at the front, it's underneath where the old heavy Salisbury axle used to be. Now, one of the most common questions we get asked when we convert a classic car like this to electric is, surely it must weigh a whole lot more than it did when it was petrol. Well, as any of our regular viewers know, we always aim to make the cars weigh exactly the same when they're electric as when they were petrol. But just to prove that, and see Tim's getting nervous now as to what I'm doing because he doesn't know I'm going to do this, I want to weigh this car right now before we go out for a spin. So I'm going to drive this back into the workshop, get out the scales and see how much this chunky monkey weighs. Well, alrighty, we are on the scales. Now, in the previous episode we did on this, when we weighed everything, we weighed how much this car weighed when it came in, how much weight came off it, and then I think I did another calculation as to how much weight we were estimating that we would put on. But that was a long time ago, and I can't remember what those numbers are. And while I was setting up the scales, Tim went away and quickly watched that episode, and you've got the numbers. So
I have got the numbers,
what did this weigh when it came in?
Right, so we weighed this at 1670 kilograms, so 1670 kilograms when it came in.
Okay.
However, if you do a Google search, the book weight for one of these is anything up to 1800.
1800?
Yeah, so
I
I'm
knew
not sure.
They were heavy cars.
So I'm not sure if that was like optional extras or whatever, you know, the heaviest it could be.
The 1800 figure might be the four-wheel drive version, you know,
Possibly.
the FF that had the two grills.
Possibly. But we measured it as 1670.
Okay, so this specific car was 1670 kilos when it rolled it and drove in with its petrol engine in.
Yeah. And then when we took the smelly stuff out...
So engine, gearbox, fuel tank, radiators, exhaust, etc., all came out. And how much did that
We
stuff?
removed 617 kilograms, so 617 kilograms of the
Came
smelly
off.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, right. And then I did a quick estimate from memory as to how much I thought was going to go on, which
And we
was what?
estimated it, we were going to add, for the conversion, 590 kilos.
Okay, that's it. So that's what I had in my mind. I estimated that it was going to be a little bit lighter than when it came in as petrol.
Yes.
So, looking over my shoulder,
What's
nervously,
the scores on the doors?
Oh, okay. So I thought it would be 30 kilos lighter. It's 20 kilos lighter. I was close.
That's pretty good. So it's certainly no heavier.
Oh, no, it's definitely not heavy. It's 1,649.5. So let's say 1,650 kilos this now weighs. So 20 kilos lighter than when it came in. And don't forget, the weight's not going to change as we drive it, because with a petrol car, the weight goes up and down depending on how much petrol you got in the tank. Well, electrons don't weigh anything, so essentially this is the same weight when it's got a full battery pack as to when it's got an empty battery pack. And this has a full battery pack, which means, what does it mean?
Test drive time.
Test drive time.
So we're very often test driving sports cars that you converted to electric.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky because we've got lots of twisty sports car testing roads around Mid Wales where we live.
That's where Top Gear come to test cars.
That's it. But I don't think those roads are suitable for this car because this is a Grand Tour, isn't it? So where are we going to head today?
So today I have in my mind we shall head to the coast. 2.5 hour journey there and back. So on the coldest cold days in January, I think we should go to Aberystwyth and have an ice cream on the front.
Yeah, so we're going to do an A-road blast.
Yeah. There's probably about 10 cows worth of leather in this thing. It's everywhere. You know, roof, centre console, which is massive because don't forget, originally had a huge like gearbox behind there. But I tell you what, the sales guy that was the supplier for the switches and the dials to Jensen, he was on a good deal. He must have got a massive Christmas bonus when he cut this deal.
There are lots of dials and switches. In fact, there's switches here for, I can't even work out what they are. Why is there oh, there's the horn, isn't there?
Yeah, but the horn's here.
Oh, is it here as well?
Well, that must be for nervous passengers.
No.
So that doesn't work.
You do your horn. Hold it down.
Oh, what?
Go on.
Why would you have a switch that changes the tone of the horn? That's just bizarre.
Maybe it's a different level of angriness.
Yeah.
Different level of road rage. Or
I'm annoyed. I'm really angry. Get out of my way.
yeah.
Brilliant. But there's how many rocker switches are there? Count them out.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the front. 4 there, so it's 11.
11 rocker switches. I've just noticed the leg room in the back seats. Have you seen it?
Well, there isn't any leg room.
I mean,
There's a fag paper room.
what's the point, right, in cars like this of having back seats if you can't physically sit in them?
I think they're a blag for men that have gone out to buy a car and told their wife they've bought a 4-seater.
Is that your theory?
Yeah, they've been told you cannot have a 2-seater sports car because we've got kids.
Yeah.
So they've come back with
A Jensen Interceptor.
A Jensen Interceptor. Or there's loads, isn't there? There's like the 911s are the same.
Yeah, that's
Maserati
right.
Ghibli.
Yeah.
Your 928.
Yeah.
They've all got rear seats.
Pointless back
Pointless.
seats.
You can't get in them.
Yeah, no, that's a good theory. I like that. So they've gone out to get a family car with 4 seats, and they've come back with this.
Yeah. So what's it drive like then?
Lovely. I mean, this is where an electric drivetrain married to a car like this really works.
Yeah.
Because it's just quiet, luxurious, but huge amounts of torque. I mean, Rolls-Royce is a perfect example where electric drivetrain would work, and this is the same. I mean, that original V8 that was in this, it wasn't a very efficient V8. It was 7.2 litres, and I think it barely scratched 300 horsepower. That's rubbish.
And also, if you were driving one with the original engine in, you would never have been able to forget the fuel consumption, would you?
Oh, yeah.
You'd have been constantly worrying about, what was it, about under 10, wasn't it, single
I
figures?
looked it up last night.
On the motorway?
The book, I think that when they advertised the car, it was like 18 miles per gallon. But most people I saw said it's around about 13 miles per gallon, but it can easily go as low as 8 miles per gallon.
Yeah.
And the tank capacity, I calculated it would be around about 200 mile range, 250 mile range if you're being economical, as far as how much fuel you've got and the efficiency of that engine. And there was one guy I saw on one of the forums said he gets around about 186 miles out of the tank. And range-wise of this, with a 62 kilowatt-hour battery pack, I reckon it'll be about 180 miles.
So it's going to have the same range with the petrol as it did.
Yeah. But performance-wise, the 0 to 60 of the original car wasn't that great because it wasn't a sports car.
No,
I mean, I'm not trying to pretend this was some 0 to 60 supercar. It just simply wasn't. Had a great top speed. I actually did it. I think it was only about 140, 150.
You wouldn't want to go faster than that in this, would you?
But I think the 0 to 60 was 7-8 seconds.
And it would have had an auto box as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And now with the Tesla motor at the back, 450 horsepower, 0 to 60, I reckon it's going to be probably mid-4s.
Really?
Yeah. On this cold, and I mean cold, January morning, slippery roads, I'm not going to do that test.
No.
Right, we've arrived in Aber. Just to prove it, that's Aberystwyth to those that aren't local. There's the castle, there's the university behind the scaffolding, and there's the rest of Aber, along with Constipation Hill, as I used to call it as a kid. What's the proper name?
Constitution Hill.
Constitution Hill.
There's the sea.
There's the sea. So, because we're in the Jensen, we don't want to be staying too long in this salty air. For all you Jensen owners, you're probably going, yeah, get out of there quick. Prone to rust, unfortunately. But yeah, what a fantastic car. It's 45, 50 miles to get here. And it just went effortless. It was really nice to drive. Long distance journeys. I can see this is one of the best GT cars of the 70s, if you ask me. But yeah, fantastic car. Really comfortable, wasn't it?
It was really nice.
Even if you did need to charge up, by the way, something I haven't even shown you, it's got CCS rapid charging around the other side, so you can charge up, really quickly if you wanted to anyway. But this has got plenty of range to come here and back, which time-wise, probably 2.5 hour journey, really, isn't it?
Yep.
Right, now I've got out into the fresh, freezing cold air, and it is freezing. I've seen some people swimming in the sea.
Mad, isn't it? I don't get it, no.
That's a new thing. I don't get that whatsoever. But it's proper taters out here, isn't it? I've changed my mind on the ice cream as well. I don't think we're going to go for an ice cream.
Give that a miss today.
We're going to go for hot sausage rolls and maybe some soup. But yeah, it's been a fantastic little run out in the Jensen. We've got to go back obviously yet. But question to you guys out there, what other 70s Grand Tourers do you think would be ripe for an electric conversion? Answers down in the comments.
I think this is similar to the Maserati Ghibli.
Yes, it is.
Same kind of size, GT.
With that bonnet sloping off into the horizon in the distance.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But what gets me on this is the double headlights. You can't go wrong with like 2 headlights in the front there.
Yeah, no, it does look good.
So there we go. I think it's time to go and get something hot. And on that note, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the next one.